So there are 4 cats living in this apartment, and me, I guess. Although nowadays I think I just work here as live-in staff. I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, living in apartments with cats, and somewhere along the way I realized the whole arrangement is sort of one-sided. I do the work, I pay the rent, and they collect the benefits. So these are 9 sides my apartment cats genuinely live better than I do. The first one is food. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, all on a timer. Running water whenever they want it. My cats actually eat on a more consistent schedule than most people I know. And a few times a week, the menu rotates. Sometimes wet food, sometimes raw, or sometimes a mix. There's a snack rotation too. There was a study a couple years back showing outdoor cats will eat over 2,000 different species. I can't exactly give 2,000 options, but a bit of variety feels closer to what they naturally go for. The extra wet and raw food helps too, since cats don't always know when they're dehydrated. So yeah, I think a lot of us end up actually spending more time on what goes into our cat's food than our own food. I can tell you exactly which protein each cat prefers, but I couldn't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday. Then they also have their own cleaning crew, which also runs on a schedule. The vacuum heads out every morning at 8 and deals with the hair and dust and whatever went down during their catnip-fueled party at midnight. And the robotic litter box that cycles throughout the day and handles, well, the rest. The litter box is another thing I end up thinking about a lot too. I can tell it's the same for a lot of you because it's all over my comments on my litter box videos. Actually, a few of the more interesting things I've learned came from you guys in the comments. One person pointed out that you can actually delay the cleaning cycle a little bit, so clumps have time to dry out and harden before it scoops. The robot can get a cleaner scoop and less gets stuck to the bottom. Another good one, you can set up a zone clean schedule so the robot just does the litter area, maybe right before you get home from work. Mine's out in the hallway, so you can just roll over and grab whatever's been tracked out of the litter mat. Past that, I'm really just doing weekly maintenance. The cats don't clean anything, well, maybe except their own food bowls. Mostly, they just supervise. There's this joke when you get married, that what's mine is mine, and what's yours is also mine. And I've realized cats run on the exact same principle. Their furniture is their furniture, but my furniture is also their furniture. They have a cat pole, a cat house, scratching post, and the window purchase for their own personal curated view of the outside world. And the sofa, which is technically mine, except they've claimed it, something I'm reminded of every morning when I'm lint rolling the fur off of it. And with 4 of them, the good spots are basically time shared. The sunny perch belongs to one cat in the morning and a different one by the afternoon. There's a whole rotation going on I'm not allowed to understand, but am clearly expected to respect. Here's another thing I notice. I am always running out of storage on my phone. So I went through the camera roll the other day, and yes, I know I make videos of cats online, but I am shocked at the amount of cat photos and videos I have. I sometimes spend half the week sorting through gigabytes of footage just to find a few usable shots for the channel. And the saddest part is, they'll never ask me to see any of them. They've also got full surveillance. I used to go on a lot of domestic trips for work, and having a pet camera around to check up on the cats really eased some of that anxiety. When I did have pet sitters, it was helpful to see them interacting safely together. So it's mostly for their safety, but also making sure that the apartment is in one piece. A main one in the living room. The feeder also has a camera, so I can make sure all the cats are present and eating, which is really useful as a daily check-in. Even the robot vacuum in the litter box has a camera, so I can check blind spots and bathroom habits. So they're basically monitored around the clock, which, now that I say it out loud, is more coverage than a human baby. I'm also apparently a chauffeur. Now, I've always been envious of people with apartments with balconies or outdoor sections in their homes because I've always wanted to build the cats a proper catio. Unfortunately, in this space, a dedicated outdoor enclosure is the one thing that's really truly lacking. To make up for it, I take them outside for controlled outings every now and then. It takes a little bit of coordination. I have to pack the carrier, get the harness ready, pick a specific safe spot away from traffic or loud noises. With 4 cats to manage, I rotate the passenger list based on whoever's been the most wired that week. It was Rosie's turn this week. Rosie likes to be carried around in this cat sling bag, so that is exactly what we'll be doing. The trick is you have to move entirely at their pace. That usually means standing or sitting perfectly still in one spot for 10 minutes. Eventually they'll feel confident enough to take 3 steps forward just to investigate one specific leaf or flower. When they're not eating or sleeping or being carried around, keeping them entertained is on me too. Something I've picked up over the years is that a lot of the bad habits cats develop come down to one thing: not enough real play. The early years is when their habits get set and when they need the most play to burn off energy. As they get older, they're better at regulating themselves. So most evenings, there I am, hoping nobody outside can see me waving around a stick like a maniac. The evenings are also when I become the grooming staff. Check their face and brush their teeth. They don't enjoy it, but it's a necessary inconvenience because dental disease is probably the most common health issue in cats. One of my cats, Ash, doesn't have the best teeth, so while I make sure he gets a careful clean, I try to stay ahead of it with the rest of them. Because like everything else lately everywhere in the world, vet bills only seem to go up. A few minutes of brushing now is a lot cheaper than what the alternative costs later. Good boy. Which means my own nighttime routine is somehow shorter than theirs, and I find that weirdly clarifying. And the last one, they have an entire apartment built for them. They've even got a heated mat, which, and I checked, is genuinely warmer than I am. And yet, sometimes when I fall asleep on the sofa, they leave the heated mat and come sleep on me instead. So, in addition to being the staff, you slowly just become the furniture, the bed, and apparently the heating they prefer. So that's 9 signs my cats live better than I do. Like I said, I just work here. But at the end of the day, we only get a limited amount of time with our cats. So I think it's okay to spoil them. So if you're gonna spoil an apartment cat, I put together 9 apartment cat hacks most owners skip. The stuff that makes a smaller space work. I'll see you there.